There are 3 users in this scenario. First, we have Joe, who's our end user. He needs Microsoft Visio for an upcoming project. He signed into his laptop, and he can see that it's not installed. So he goes to the service portal, and he searches for Visio. You can see there's a way to automatically install it. Clicking this link brings him to a catalog item, where all he needs to do is choose which of his assigned devices to install the program on, say when he wants the installation to start, and optionally provide an end time so the program can automatically be removed. Our next user is Casey. She's the software asset manager at Joe's company. She has an entitlement here for Microsoft Visio 2019. It's part of her company's enterprise subscription agreement with Microsoft. And it comes with downgrade rights for 2016. So installations for either version will be covered under this entitlement. The metric is per device. It's for 68 licenses, and none are currently available. She can see each device that she's allocated a license to, and each user who's been assigned that computer. And finally, we have Beth, who manages the service desk. She's used client software distribution to automate these software requests through an integration with SCCM. If she goes to Maintain Items, Software Items, she can see all the catalog items that she's created for users to request. Let's look at how she set up this item for Visio. This form controls that catalog item page that Joe found. She can set the title, set a price, and change the description. This flow field determines what happens when Joe submits his order. Order client software is a ServiceNow flow that comes with client software distribution. Another key field is software configuration. This connects the catalog item to an application in SCCM and also to an install collection and uninstall collection. These first 2 checkboxes affect how the flow runs. She can control if manager approval is needed and also if a license is required. By turning order on behalf of on, this field appears to Joe so that he could potentially request software for somebody else. So this is one way that Joe can make his request, but Beth has also made this process available through the virtual agent. So from his phone, Joe can start a new conversation with the virtual agent. And if he searches for software, select software request. You could either browse or search for the catalog item. Confirm his selection. Again, choose which device he wants the software on. And the virtual agent starts the deployment. So Beth can use Flow Designer to see exactly what happened when Joe submitted his request. She goes to Executions. She can see the flow is in this waiting state. If she clicks this link, she can look at the execution details to see exactly what happened. So on the left, she can see each stage in the flow. And on the right, she can see whether that step actually was executed. So we can see that Joe's catalog item request triggered the flow. These are the values that came in through the catalog item. We can see the name of his device. And some additional values came in because of how Beth had set up this item. So we can see the software model here. This is going to affect the license compliance check. And this deployment type of workstation means that it's a device deployment in SCCM, but we also support user deployments as well. Now, Beth turned off for this item, this approval, but if she had turned it on, we would have gone to this ask for approval step and the flow would have waited before moving any further. She did turn on this license compliance check. So this license validation action ran and it checked for any available entitlements. It didn't find any, so then it created a catalog task for Casey to procure a license before moving forward. So going back to Casey, she can see the catalog task that the flow created, but rather than procure a new license, she can go to the license workbench, which is included with SAM Pro, navigate to Microsoft, and then Visio, where she can see that 3 of the licenses she's allocated are not actually being used. This means that the program is no longer installed on those devices. So if she goes to remediation options, she can remove those allocations, which will free up the licenses for Joe. On top of that, she can see that a removal candidate has been created because of low usage. So if she takes a closer look at that, she can see that David has Visio installed, but it doesn't seem like he's using it. So she can also kick off a workflow that will automatically uninstall the program. So after doing that, Casey can go back to that catalog task and close it. And the flow will continue on and automatically create an allocation for Joe's computer. Beth can see that the license validation check ran and it passed. And then the flow assigned the license. After that, it created a lease schedule for deploying the software. And then it sent an email to Joe, letting him know that his order has been processed. So we can see that order client software then called deploy client software, which then triggered the SCCM integration. It's also easy for Beth to customize these flows. So Beth made a copy of order client software distribution. So if she wanted to modify this, for instance, rather than sending an email at the end, she could choose a different action, like sending in a message through Teams or Slack. And so she can customize the flow however she needs to. So going back to Joe, we can see that he's received a few emails about his request. So the next step is for the SCCM agent on Joe's computer to check in with the server and see that there's software to install. So we can accelerate this process by forcing a check-in. We can see some messages that the installation has started. So now the installation is completed. Joe can launch Visio. You can see it's installed. It is possible to remove this software automatically. So this is an example of the lease ending and triggering this remove client software action. So we can see the input was this lease schedule, and that triggered the revoke action. And the flow revoked the license. From there, we triggered the SCCM integration. But Beth can also remove the software manually. So if she goes to requested software, she can see all those catalog item requests that have come through. And for Joe, we can see it's installed. So Beth can click that and choose revoke software. And then that will trigger the SCCM execution. So this requested software view can provide some really useful information for Beth. She could create a personalized dashboard based on it, where she could see, for instance, the requests by what stage they're in, who are the top 10 requesters, how many requests have come in recently, and also what products are being most frequently requested. So all useful information that Beth can get from that table. So now that we've revoked the software, we can force a check-in with SCCM. And we can see the removal process is started. So I hope that gives you an idea of how client software distribution can work together with SAM Pro to automate the software request process.